Hey guys, what's up? Emo Cat Dad here, hanging out with you, bringing you yet another edition of Emo Cat Dad Listens. I'm on the mend finally, but I'm still a little off, so forgive me, for I am ill. But I'm not stopping. You clicked on this video. If you don't know what Emo Cat Dad Listens is, well, every day of 2024, I have vowed to check out a new band or artist. Check out 4 songs from across their discography, give you my initial thoughts on those songs, give you my ranking of the songs, and then, of course, close it all off by giving you my thoughts on the artist, based on what I just heard. As you can see right there, today's artist is Gojira, which is the Japanese pronunciation of Godzilla, so this is a massive episode given that. But in all seriousness, this was a suggestion from one of you kind viewers, so please keep those suggestions coming in the comments below. Give me bands or artists you think I absolutely need to check out, and then come on back on a future episode to see me do those, basically. But without any further ado, before my meds wear off, let's jump into Gojira. So my experience with Gojira up to this point was basically the feature that John Duplantier had on the Comeback Kid song Crossed. This is my wife's favorite Comeback Kid song, or one of them anyways. I'm not a big fan because it's more metal than anything, so I'm fully expecting this to be super metal and me not dig it as much as, you know, the stuff I normally listen to, which falls into emo, of course, pop punk, hardcore, but we're gonna give it a spin anyways and see if my mind can get turned around to the metal stylings of Gojira. Alright, so Gojira, despite being a band for a long time, hasn't released as many albums as I would have thought, but they were still gonna go career spanning here, starting with their From Sirius to Mars album, which I believe came out in 2005. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. And I checked out The Heaviest Matter of the Universe. Okay, so this was a very long intro, but I could tell listening to the song that Gojira is very proggy, so that's just going to be something I have to deal with. Regular viewers know, not a big fan of long intros, outros, or musical breaks in songs, but in the progressive metal genre, that's basically a given to happen, so I've just gotta prepare myself and clench my cheeks for the butthurt that's about to come. I think the standout element for me here was the vocals. They were solid across the board, no matter what style the vocalist was doing. But I will say the musicianship itself, although full of talent, the mixing didn't really do any favors. I felt like the drumming, which was solid, kind of overpowered the rest of the tones. So that kind of irked me a little bit. Bless my French heart. The next track we're going to check out is off the album L'Enfant Sauvage. And I'm checking out the title track, which translates to The Wild Child. Okay, so the lyrics on this track are definitely better. I love the metaphor of using like a wild child as a means of explaining that you're angry about being controlled. Really solid work lyrically on this track. I really dig the breakdown that happens in the song. It's probably my favorite part. And then we get kind of like a long yell of I Run on Time to kind of close out the lyrical portion. But then it does follow by like a longer musical outro and fade out. Again, not my favorite, but these songs aren't as long as I expected them to be. So that's a huge plus. And makes it a little easier to overlook the musical breaks not being as long as, you know, a Dream Theater song. Alright, next up, we're heading to their 2016 album, Magma. And I checked out Stranded, which is their most streamed song on Spotify. Okay, once again, we get too long of an intro here. But this is the song I'm going to complain the least about. Because that riff that was playing over that musical intro was so infectious. I honestly could have dealt with a whole minute of it. This chorus rules. This is by far the best chorus out of any of these songs yet for Gojira. And we get it twice, basically back to back. There's like a little musical break in between, which was like, eh. But then once that chorus hits again, I'm like, okay, I'm back in on this track now. So the song is still heavy, especially musically, but there's still lots of mainstream appeal, so I completely get why this is their most streamed song. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe their fan base does not like it for the mainstream appeal. So if you're a Gojira fan, let me know in the comments. And finally, Gojira released their most recent album, Fortitude, in 2021. Off that album, I checked out the track Amazonia. Okay, so whatever that intro musical instrument is, it's perfectly used to set the tone for the song. Gives you that kind of Amazonian rainforest vibe. Really dug it. Back-to-back songs where Gojira just knows how to hook me in with no lyrics, which is shocking. There's lots of repetition lyrically in the song. All the other tracks did have some degree of this as well, but usually it was contained to like an outro or something like that. Not so much here, and they use the repetition as a hook. I completely understand why they did it given the subject matter, and it makes sense in that context. But repeating lyrics just doesn't work as a hook for me as a whole. Alright, so those are 4 tracks I checked out. Let's go ahead and rank them. Starting with number 1. Act Surprise, It's Stranded. This just feels like one of those tracks where you can spin it for a 5-year-old or an 80-year-old and any age in between, and they're going to find something about it that they enjoy. And me, being a nearly 35-year-old emo cat dad, I can find lots in this track I dig. At 2, we're going L'Enfant Sauvage. My favorite lyrics out of any of these tracks. Really dug the wordplay that they used. It's well deserving of the number 2 spot, especially given the strong vocals that are always in the Gojira songs that I've listened to, backed by probably the best straight up metal music that I've heard on any of these tracks. At 3, Amazonia. I've had some issues with this, but I can't take away any of the highs on this track. The highs were so high, like off-screen high, that even when stuff happened that bugged me a little, whether it was the long outro or the repeating lyrics in this track, which were the most pronounced, they still brought back that cool instrumentation throughout and reminded me why this song is so strong overall. And finally at 4, The Heaviest Matter of the Universe. Musically, this was probably the weakest of the 4, so it's not surprising it's here. The vocals are still really good, not taking any away from Gojira. And even musically, honestly, I don't think it was so much the playing that was an issue. I think it was just the way they mixed it. Maybe that was a choice they made. It just didn't work for me. Alright, so what are my overall thoughts on Gojira? This band is obviously supremely talented. Vocally, no issues whatsoever. Musically, no issues whatsoever outside of, the long musical breaks, which are a staple in the music, so that's not going away. So that's a me problem that I just got to get over. Lyrically, there was some repetition, really, on all these tracks, but ultimately it didn't really bug me as much as it normally would. Only one time was it used to make a hook, which is usually my biggest issue, and that was in Amazonia. But like I said, given the context of the song, where they're talking about the rainforest dying, completely understand why they did it. But the one thing you can't say about Gojira is that they don't make prog metal accessible, because here I am, an emo cat dad, giving Gojira overall a big thumbs up. Alright guys, thank you so much for hanging out to the very end of this video. I appreciate you. Please get in the comments now and leave me other bands or artists that you think that I need to check out on a future episode of this. Maybe there's another prog metal band that you think I would like Gojira. Leave that below. Maybe like an underground emo or pop punk band that there's no way that I know about. Please leave that below. Or maybe there's just a top 40 star, whether they're country, rap, or pop, that you think that this emo cat dad needs to broaden his horizons and check out something mainstream. Definitely leave that below as well. Hopefully I'll get to it on a future episode. Speaking of episodes, we're at 139, quickly approaching the end of May, so dive back through the back catalog if you haven't already. If you don't want to do that because that's too daunting of a task, that's fine, that's cool, completely get it. But do me one other favor. Cut my wrist and hit subscribe, because this Emo Cat Dad's coming back with more and more episodes every day of this year. And until you see me again, I want to hear you sad.